think that what you have in common with folks is the fact that you can't read and you have low SAT scores. For all you know, every black person in that crowd had a perfect SAT score and is a speed reader who's read thousands of books. You're making an assumption based on what you see. What other factors are there that distinguish that crowd and that moderator that would make you jump to the conclusion that they might have bad SAT scores and poor reading comprehension and reading abilities? Seems very racist. I saw the governor clapping back because a lot of right-wing commentators latched onto this gaffe, and that doesn't surprise me because they're feeling threatened by Governor Newsom. He's been on a roll with social media and trolling the president and really has made a splash in the Democratic Party as maybe the heir apparent, maybe the next president, because he's tall and people believe he's good looking and they feel like he is fearless in going after Trump. His social media team is doing an incredible job. The stuff they put up is funny. It's in his face. This was a gaffe. This was a whole gaffe, and some of the right-wing commentators seized on it, and I saw the governor pushing back, and his pushback was, formidable. He says, you didn't care when all these other anti-black things happened, so why do you suddenly care now when you feel I've made a gaffe? That's fair enough in relation to them. But in relation to our community, accountability is really important. And I feel like the governor should say something like, I apologize. How about that? Like, I apologize. Perhaps my intention was misconstrued. It was not my intention to imply that black people all have low SAT scores or that none of y'all can read. But I know that in politics, as in other areas of life, many times politicians, corporations are encouraged, and states are encouraged not to apologize because it comes with liability. But responsibility is also a thing. And I was arguing with folks online. It's a similar conversation about the gentleman who has Tourette's syndrome, who was the subject of a film called I Speak, who was at the BAFTA Awards, which is like the British Oscars, whatever. And he has Tourette's syndrome with this one type of Tourette's syndrome that makes you uncontrollably curse and say, apparently, whatever would be most socially taboo in any situation. That's what's going to come out of your mouth. So he yells the N-word at Delroy Lindo and Michael B. Jordan while they're on stage. He's yelling the N-word. Apparently he did it 3 times, including one time at a woman, a black woman there. And the narrative is this man has a disability. He's an advocate for the disabled. He can't help doing that, so he should not apologize. And in fact, apparently this man has spent his life advocating that people with Tourette's should not have to apologize because they would spend all day, every day apologizing. And that's all of that is understandable. But I believe the N-word is a particular problem, right? Because it's not just a word, it's violence. And for all the white people in the comments saying, well, it's in rap songs and it's a term of endearment and it's this and it's that. Not when y'all say it. Not when y'all say it. Not to mention the term of endearment is not pronounced that way. It has a different pronunciation than the one that man said at those awards. It was clearly the insult, racial slur version of that word. And I'm one who believes words are not inherently bad. It's the intention behind the word, right? If my girlfriend calls me a B, which most of them don't, but if they do, I don't take offense because that's a different intention behind that word. If, someone I don't know, a man, says that to me, it's not going to, the intention is different. In any case, I feel the man should apologize. I do. I don't think I agree with him. If he's cursing and stuff every day, it would be impossible for him to apologize for everything, and maybe we need to make that space and grace for his disability. I agree with that. But in this particular case, in a very public space, you humiliated two very accomplished, beautiful black men. And even though it was caused by your disability, and there should be grace for that. You notice I'm not getting on here saying the man's a racist. I don't know. He's got Tourette's. That's what came out of his mouth. You still need to apologize. If I hit you with my car, whether it's because I wasn't paying attention or because I had an actual disability, I still am liable for the damage. Oh, people are roasting me online for that, but I do not care. White people, disabled or otherwise, have to take accountability, and I do get that the BAFTAs and BBC are the main culprits because they're the ones that didn't edit it out of the show. I do get that. But I still think the man who uttered the words has to take accountability and apologize to those guys, with the caveat and the understanding that it's in the context of his disability and he's not admitting to being a racist, but just doing the right thing. And I think that the white folks and others, because it's not just white folks, who are on my timeline and everywhere else saying, oh, you're an idiot, you don't know anything about Tourette's, he shouldn't have to apologize, that they have decided that Delroy Lindo and Michael B. Jordan and every other black person in that room who was hurt by that have to suck it up and keep it moving because they have to take the high road, be mature, and take accountability and give grace for this man's disability. Man, no. You don't get to make that decision. You don't get to decide who we forgive, what we're willing to tolerate, what we give grace to, and how much harm we have to take. And you certainly don't get to race to do it in order to ensure your own comfort. No, that's not how it works. Sorry. Accountability, Governor. Accountability, BBC, BAFTA. That's where I'm at. I'm always open to your thoughts on things such as these, and we do have a lot to talk about. So we'll do that. 800-920-1580. If you want to weigh in, you can hop in the comments at youtube.com, KBLA 1580. You can hit me up on all my socials, Diprima Radio, DIPRIMA, and then radio, or KBLA 1580. All the ways that we communicate, we've got a lot to talk about. KBLA Talk 1580.
Thanks for starting your morning off with a voice that speaks truth to power and the powerless, getting to the heart of what matters most in our community. This is where authentic conversation meets real action. From breaking news and politics to culture and community solutions. This is where you hear perspectives you won't hear anywhere else. This is where we come together, get informed, and make change happen. You're inside First Things First with Dominique Diprima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Good morning, sunshine. You make my day.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique Diprima when we come forward.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Hi, I'm Tavis Smiley, and I have some news. The room is full. Our founding members cohort on the art of conversation has begun, and I could not be more energized by the professionals who said yes to mastering the craft. Their dedication to curating great conversations reminds me why I do this work. Now, if you wanted to join us and did not make it in time, I want you to hear this. The next cohort is coming. I do not have the firm dates yet, but I do have a waiting list. And everyone on that list will receive early access and special discounts when enrollment opens. After almost 40 years of interviewing world leaders and cultural icons, I am teaching everything I know. Don't miss your chance to be in the next room. Go to TavishTalks.com and get on the waiting list right now. That's TavishTalks.com. The conversation continues. Will you be part of it?
Yeah, man.
Are you drowning in IRS tax debt? Angela was. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $80,000. Felicia was having health problems, got behind on her taxes, interest and penalties were adding up. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $15,000. Civic Tax Relief is a professional tax negotiation firm that can protect you from the IRS. If you're getting collection letters, call Civic Tax Relief for a free consultation. They will go to work helping you discover all the relief programs you may qualify for free. James owed the IRS $37,000. Civic Tax Relief represented him against the IRS, and by the time everything was completed, he did not owe the IRS anything. If you are in trouble with the IRS, call Civic Tax Relief for your free consultation now. 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257. Get a free consultation and real tax relief. Call 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257.
This Friday night, KBLA Talk 1580 invites you to gather with us as we honor a legend. Join us at 7 p.m. at the historic First AME Church for a celebration of life for the Reverend Jesse L. Jackson Sr., civil rights leader and tireless champion for justice. For decades, Reverend Jackson stood on the front lines of change, fighting for voting rights, economic opportunity, and equality for all. Now the community comes together to reflect, to remember, and to celebrate a life that helped shape a nation. Music, prayer, powerful tributes. That's this Friday, February 27th at First AME Church in Los Angeles, 2270 South Harvard Boulevard. KBLA Talk 1580 thanks our partners for this celebration of life service in honor of Reverend Jackson, the United Faith Coalition, the Empowerment Congress, LA County Federation of Labor, and SCLC LA. For details and coverage, stay with KBLA Talk 1580.
I am black, beautiful, proud.
Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DePrima right now.
Right now, you're back to me and these phones at 800-920-1580. 800-920-1580. I just find it incredible how people who are not black feel so welcome and so entitled to tell us how to respond, to tell us what we need to put up with, what we are meant to tolerate, how we need to take the high road, but they don't do it. They don't do it. Let that man be yelling the B word or some other racial slur about somebody or a religious slur about somebody. You don't think they would have edited out something? Anti-woman, anti-Semitic? I think they would have. I mean, they edited out Free Palestine. And so, and I've experienced this when Jay French was on the show too, and we were talking about race and we were arguing. All of these white people are jumping in the comments telling me that I'm just trying to be a victim and I need to suck it up and stop talking about race. Well, it's not your business. You do not get to tell me, a black woman, what I forgive, what I say, how I process being black, how I process your racism. That is not your place. Stop it. Go sit down. It's amazing. And a lot of these people were insulting me, saying everything but the N-word. I'm a low IQ individual. They were saying stuff like that. Well, I don't remember my SAT score, but it wasn't no 925, and I read just fine. Let's go to Paul calling us from LA. Good morning, Paul.
Good morning, Dominique. I appreciate you for standing up for the real on this, because obviously what we're dealing in real time with. And people are entitled to cape for who they want to cape for.
Yes.
But my main thing is before anything else, I'm like I said, I'm for protecting our black women and locking arms with our black brothers. And what I don't like is being played with in my face. This is the same guy during the Charlie Kirk situation that literally caped and said Charlie Kirk did it the right way through debate. So, debating that black people, specifically black women, brains are small, is doing it the right way. But we're supposed to, how are we supposed to take that?
Yeah. I mean, right. I wasn't even putting it in that context, but right. How are we supposed to take that, and what are you revealing about yourself that you don't even know you're revealing about yourself?
All that's going on right now is, and this is why it's really important that we get ahead of this, Dominique, is the neoliberalism, the party. The man put a picture up of Ronald Reagan saying, this is the way we should be. When we know directly Reaganomics and the damage that it did to the black community overall. What they're trying to do is they're trying to get the black vote because they need the black vote. But what they're saying is we're not going to do identity politics. How does that make sense? Because in reality, what you're really doing is identity politics overall. And what you're saying to those moderates and those independents is, I'm willing to throw these people under the bus to come for you Dixiecrats to come back home.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and here's the thing. You say you don't do identity politics, but white identity politics is considered the default. So y'all don't count that as identity politics. Trump is identity politics all day long.
So I just, like I said, Dominique, and this is what I don't like. Don't play in my face. The way the guy, and like I said, I'm not black only, but I'm black first. And what I care about is my people. And what I care about is the displacement of my people in the state that you were supposedly the governor in. What I do care about is how you turned your back on the black community during the reparations push because you're more worried about your own self goals than you are governing the people of your state, especially those people that are being attacked overall. We don't have to take this, people. We can stop this in the primaries. No Democratic person can come out of the primaries without the black vote. So don't let these people tell you that this is our guy. No, we should turn this around. We should turn this around and say, what are you going to do for our vote? Don't let them anoint this guy and cape for him. And people are entitled to cape for who they want to cape for. But what I'm telling you is, look at everything he's directly done and look at what it's done to our community. Overall, pay attention, people, because they're anointing someone that's basically saying, y'all, this is who y'all gonna get, roll with it or not. And my biggest fear, Dominique, is when you put this guy in office, if he gets in office, we're going to end up with something worse than Donald Trump. You know why? Because their normal is not what's going to help people move forward.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, I don't know that I would say Newsom is worse than Trump. I know you're not you can't tolerate Newsom. I can't go out there on that branch with you, Paul. But I think I understand what you're saying. If you want to keep it going after news, traffic, and sports, you're welcome to do so. But this is problematic when folks let you see inside their brains and stuff like that is in there. Got to take it seriously. KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Florida's legislative session is set to end March 13th, but lawmakers remain divided on major issues like property taxes and the state budget.
Nobody cares about Tallahassee drama when they can't afford groceries or rent or their power bill or to go to a doctor.
House Democratic leader Fentress Driscoll, who is black, says only 8 of more than 1,000 proposed bills have passed both chambers. Some residents who lost homes in the Palisades fire are upset after receiving $31 brush clearance bills from the city of Los Angeles, even though their properties remain vacant. The notices are arriving more than a year after the fire. Black Mayor Karen Bass called the charges unacceptable, and City Councilwoman Tracy Park says she's working with the fire department to address the issue. And pastor and gospel singer Marvin Sapp is engaged to Dr. Laboris Cole after a decade-long friendship. The couple had kept their relationship private, marking a new chapter for Sapp as a widower. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
The A6 Los Angeles Marathon on March 8th takes you from stadium to the stars. Whether you're a seasoned marathoner or a first-time participant, the Los Angeles Marathon offers an unforgettable experience for runners of all levels. LA, move your body, move your mind with A6.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers are back in action tonight. They're at home against the Orlando Magic. The Lakers have some work to do to make up for their disappointing performance Sunday against Boston. The 22-point loss to the Celtics generated concerns about the team's effort. Tonight's game could indicate if the players have gotten past that issue. Lakers star Luka Doncic remains in the top 5 in 3 major categories. Doncic is the NBA scoring leader with 32.8 points per game. He's third in assists with 8.5 and second in made three-pointers with 3.7 per game. Top 5 women's college basketball teams in this week's national rankings: UConn, 27-1 UCLA, South Carolina, Texas, and Vanderbilt. During UCLA's 21-game winning streak, the Bruins have scored under 70 points only once, and they won that game with 69 points at Michigan on February 8th. The Bruins are averaging 87.7 points during their winning streak. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Pizza's here. Oh, great. I'd love some, but I'm worried about my stomach issues.
If you're worried about having diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools, it may not just be stomach issues. It could be a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline Nasal Spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with the world. African Focus Incorporated is a community-based organization whose mission is to bring Africans and African Americans together, lead charitable initiatives on the motherland, and educate people from all walks of life on the beauty, legacy, and opportunity of Africa's 54 nations. And it's that time once again when African Focus is teaming up with KBLA Talk 1580 for our 8th annual African Focus Trailblazers Tour. Travel with us in 2026 when we're headed to the southern African nations of Zambia and Botswana for a historical, cultural, and vacation tour led by me, Dominique DePrima, Cultural Ambassador for African Focus Incorporated. Enjoy luxurious accommodations, conscious fellow travelers, shopping, adventures, cultural tours, wildlife safaris, and a giant waterfall, one of the world's 7 wonders, along with a chance to be of service at an orphanage on the continent. Become an AFI trailblazer by exploring the motherland with a nonprofit organization that has members in Africa and America to help roll out the red carpet for you, and together we'll make a difference and have fun doing it. For more information, visit africanfocus.org or call 310-676-7300. That's 310-676-7300 or africanfocus.org. Whether it's stateside or exploring the diaspora, we're with you every step of the way. African Focus and KBLA Talk 1580. Come go with us.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Absolutely appreciate you. 800-920-1580. That's the number Paul called if you want to do the same. And Paul was talking about Governor Gavin Newsom's recent gaffe. It was at an event in Atlanta. And as I stated, a lot of commentators have pointed out that the crowd was not entirely black, but he was talking with a black moderator, and clearly he was aiming that message at us. Those of us in California who are black Californians, Democrats, already had given the governor the side eye around the promise to appoint a black woman to replace Senator Kamala Harris. He did so in a way that was very temporary. That's not what he promised. He stuck with the spirit of the promise and not the letter of the promise. Actually, he first appointed Alex Padilla. Then he went and appointed someone who he knew was not going to run for that seat in LaFonz Butler. He could have appointed someone who would stay there, but he chose not to do so. Could have appointed Deborah Lee, which is what most of us thought he would do, but he did not do. So there is that, and there's been other conversations and situations, i.e., palling around with far right wingers on your podcast, fangirling for Charlie Kirk, even if it was supposedly on behalf of your children, and a number of other things. So this is not isolated for those of us who are here in California. And I think that's what Paul was referencing. I also know from conversations on Instagram and on these airwaves that Paul in particular does not want Gavin Newsom to be the presidential nominee for 2028. Well, it's only 2026. A lot can happen in 2 years. I'm kind of hoping that someone comes from out of nowhere, quote unquote, out of nowhere. That's what we saw with President Barack Obama at the time. He was known from his activism in Chicago. He was known from his powerful speech at the DNC, but he wasn't known widely the way that someone like Newsom or Kamala Harris is. And even though I see that the polling is now showing Kamala handing Trump his butt on a platter if the election were held today, again, it's not going to be held today, and a lot can happen between now and 2028. I still believe that when it came to the fighting ring, the battle of an actual election, that Harris would be vulnerable because she carries the Joe Biden legacy with her. She was his vice president. She did what she had to do, which is fit to defend the president. But that's not an easy way to run for president. And I think that that's going to hinder her. Although apparently, looking at this polling, folks are folks are having buyer's remorse and thinking, oh, what would America have been like with Kamala Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris? And rightly so. We would clearly be in a much better place right now. Clearly. How that plays out in 2028, I don't know. But I do know that a lot of conversations are going to happen between now and then. A lot more gaffes, a lot more candidates, and many more giant crises, because he who shall not be named is in the White House, and they are flooding the zone, both intentionally and unintentionally. The fact that this guy is losing it on the extreme court, which has given him complete immunity, but now he's mad because they don't support the tariffs, so he's going to call them losers. It shows you, if he'll throw the Supreme Court under the bus, what will he do to the ordinary voter? It's quite telling. So I expect many more crises between now and then. And I just feel like it's a long way for Gavin Newsom to get that nomination. It does look good for him right now, but it's a long, long way from where we are at this moment. We got to get through these midterms first. We got to elect a mayor of our city, of Los Angeles, and a governor of our state, of California, right? We've got to take back the House of Representatives. I mean, on a great day, it would also include the Senate. Now, that would be something. That would be something to watch. A flailing lame duck president who has lost control of both houses of Congress. Oh, that would be a beautiful day. You want to see someone writhing like a demon at an exorcism. It would be that scenario. Oh, I'm going to pray on that. But in the meantime, that's a tall order. It's hard to take back the Senate, especially since the Senate is unfairly apportioned. So no matter how big your population, you get 2 senators. It's a way to keep the southern states and the itty-bitty states with an outsized and unfair, undemocratic voice in our democracy. I say undemocratic. One man, one woman, one vote. So that's supposed to expand out to the statewide population level, but it doesn't. Also, if D.C. had statehood, we would have the Senate right now. If Puerto Rico had statehood, we would have the Senate right now. But I digress. I'm over here in my happy place thinking of all the good things that can and probably will happen once we get past our current debacle. And it is exactly that, a debacle. Whew. Okay, so bunch of things I have flagged. We're going to talk about this. But other stuff keeps coming up. I'm always going to circle back because I want us to stay up to date and not miss a lot of stuff. So we didn't get a chance to talk about this, but last week, a district judge said that the city of Los Angeles is violating the constitutional rights of homeless people by destroying their personal property when they clean up encampments. They take the property and they many times destroy it. And Dale S. Fisher, the judge, said that this is a seven-year case. It's been going on for 7 years. Ended the case without a trial, but said that the city had altered their documentation of cleanups of homeless encampments to make it seem like they separated personal property from trash, hazardous waste. And she says that this can't be blamed on the pandemic, that the city is, what she says is the timing of the city's modifications and fabrications is strong circumstantial evidence of bad faith. Okay? And this is based on a forensic analysis that the judge ordered, and she says the examiner found that 90% of the records of what happened during these cleanups were modified or fabricated after the city was put on notice. Okay. This is bad news in a number of ways. First of all, if you're unhoused and you have personal property that you need, i.e. your ID, right? Especially ID, because it's hard to come out of houselessness. If you don't have ID, you can't get a place to live. It's hard to get a job, hard to qualify for programs. So if they're just throwing everything away, that's bad. But at the same time, if you live in this city, you know that there are piles and piles and piles and piles and piles and piles of garbage everywhere because of houseless encampments. And I'm not that progressive who's going to close my eyes and say, well, it is what it is. The unhoused have rights. How do we fix this? This is not easy. The public, not just rich people, the working class who live alongside these piles of trash and encampments are fed up and want the streets cleaned up. The homeless, the unhoused, are human beings who need help, not criminalization. But how do we do better? What are we going to do here? I mean, in my imagination, we should have parking lots with massive banks of lockers where unhoused persons can put their essentials and take a shower. And if they're living in their cars, to park safely. But we don't have that. We cannot leave the garbage and the people on the streets to get sick, to die, to endanger others. So what do we do? And this is happening right, of course, ahead of the World Cup, the Super Bowl, the Olympics, all coming to Los Angeles. We made it through the All-Star game. That was the All-Star weekend. I think it went pretty well, actually, from what I can tell. It seemed to bring resources and fun and business to the community. But a lot of us are concerned about the wholesale warehousing of the unhoused when the Olympics and the Super Bowl come to town, and do not want people's belongings to be thrown in the trash. At the same time, if you're realistic, you walk around the city, you see a lot of piles of garbage. And so what is the procedure? Got to get Pete White back on here. What is the procedure for getting rid of this garbage, which does attract vermin? You know, LA is now one of the leading cities in the country for rats. And I guarantee you, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure out that the trash everywhere, under freeways, on streets, is part of the reason for that. So what do? We have to find a humane way for the unhoused to be able to keep their stuff and still clean up the trash and have humane and humanitarian ways for folks to be housed or get help. And yes, I'm of the unpopular opinion that if someone is schizophrenic or has an extreme mental health condition, they need care. And they may not be capable of getting it for themselves. Unpopular opinion. Pragmatic progressive here. We cannot continue to just be on one extreme or the other. The one extreme is anti-camping ordinances, which criminalize human beings. And the other extreme is let's have garbage everywhere and let everyone do whatever, even if it endangers others and makes our city into a vermin-infested hellscape. There's got to be an in-between. There has to be a practical, what would Mama do? What would Big Mama do? I think that's where we need to get to with this. 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. I'm Dominique DePrima for KBLA, Talk 1580.
The station you turn to when you've had it up to here with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580.
Getting around LA doesn't have to cost a lot. Metro has fares that fit every budget. 20 free rides for qualified riders through the Life Fare program. Free passes for students with GoPass and affordable options for everyone in between. Wherever you're going, Metro's got you covered. Visit metro.net/fare programs.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Tired of being locked out of job opportunities and shut down by systemic racism? KBLA Talk 1580 stands with you in fighting for the rights of black workers, and we don't black down. The Los Angeles Black Workers Center is a dynamic alliance of workers, organized labor, community-based organizations, clergy, students, and scholars working collectively to improve the position of the black working class. The LA Black Workers Center takes a comprehensive approach to addressing the black jobs crisis. Their programs promote access to quality jobs, racial equity in hiring and retention, discrimination-free job sites, and they prepare black workers for employment in high-wage career track jobs. The LA Black Workers Center supports workers who need help protecting their rights on the job. They give workers access to quality jobs and remove systemic barriers to employment. And they are advocating for a fair deal for black workers in the new Los Angeles City Charter. To sign up for free career readiness training, get involved in organizing, or learn about union apprenticeship programs and trade registries, please visit lablackworkercenter.org. That's lablackworkercenter.org. Together, we can beat the black jobs crisis and build a more equitable Los Angeles. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. At the heart of the Al Wooten Center's mission for good citizenship and academic excellence is a desire to ensure that every student avoids the kind of lifestyle and overcomes the kinds of challenges that led to the murder of Al Wooten Jr. In 1990, founder Myrtle Fay Rumpf opened the center in honor of her son's life. In 2026, they are serving more than 300 students in grades 3 through 12 annually online and on site at their youth center and other sites in the South LA area. The Al Wooten Jr. Youth Center takes a neighborhood approach to the revitalization and empowerment of a community in crisis. The Wooten Center provides free after-school and summer programs to help students in grades 3 through 12 attain grade-level proficiency and promotion, high school graduation, and college and career access and success. The Al Wooten Center focuses on academics, STEM, the arts, and so much more. Join them for an enriching experience that sparks creativity and nurtures young minds. Tap in at wootencenter.org. That's wootencenter.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where everybody is somebody and nobody is a stranger. You belong here.
You do belong here, and I'm glad that you are here. So much to cover. I didn't mean to go all the way down that rabbit hole, but I did because, obviously that's one of the most challenging things that we have to deal with in our city. But what I've realized and what I've seen more and more coverage of lately is that this is not just an LA thing. It is a nationwide problem. And my belief is that it will become a bigger and bigger nationwide problem because a lot of times we are the canary in the coal mine. We're showing you because LA is extreme in terms of the costs, right? Housing costs, food costs, gas and transportation. We're more extreme. We are also more extreme in having wonderful entertainment, fun things to do, great restaurants. You're never bored here. The weather is amazing. I mean, you take the good with the bad. But it's tough. LA is tough. It is. It's not an easy city. Okay, so what happens here will more than likely spread as other cities and rural areas that are less expensive start to feel the pinch of high housing costs, of Wall Street gambling with our essential needs like housing, food, water, the privatization of water, food, housing, very problematic. These are human needs. Schools too. These are not things that should be privatized. But as that's happening more and more and more, we're going to see more and more cities and rural areas dealing with an explosion in houselessness. It's already happening. And so that's why I feel it's so important for us to create these templates, these methodologies for how to deal with these crises. These are the crises. I see what's happening in San Francisco. I still have family there. Their new mayor is mandating that people go to work. They don't work remotely because he wants people downtown who aren't homeless, who will patronize the businesses there and create a more quote-unquote normal environment. He is actually mandating that companies force their workers back into the office in order to revitalize downtown. Love it or hate it, he's making a move. And I feel like we have to make moves. We have to try new things. I do believe the Mayor Karen Bass, deserves credit for at least finally, even though there's small decreases, finally decreasing the number of unhoused folks on the streets. I mean, yeah, is it perfect? No. Have we solved the problem? No. Should we be celebrating the fact that fewer people are living on the streets in the rain, in the cold, in the wind, in the crazy? Yes, absolutely. And the fact that Mayor Bass has prioritized this is important. And also the fact that she is a progressive who, even though we would all like to see more progressive wins, will process any policy around the unhoused through that progressive lens so that we are unlikely to see the mass arrests and warehousing of the unhoused just to make our city look cute for the Olympics or the World Cup, which is pretty much now. I keep thinking it's in the future, but it's really like summer 2026. The city of Riverside, the city council there, actually turned down $20 million in state funding to build housing for low-income seniors and the unhoused. This was last month. They voted 4-3 to refuse to accept $20 million. These are the kinds of moves that I feel we need to put on blast. I don't live in Riverside. I have a few friends there, and I wish that you guys would put your city council on blast. When you look at the fact that LA Times had a great article last year about how a lot of the unhoused aged out of their housing, meaning they retired or were no longer able to work because of medical reasons, and that's why they can't afford their rent, and that's why they end up on the streets. So building low-income senior housing is crucial to help keep the unhoused population from exploding. The boomers, who are right now going into retirement age at a massive number every day, need low-income housing so that they can survive on their Social Security, whatever the other little pensions and money that they might have, without becoming unhoused. The sheer numbers of the boomer generation, it's a huge number of people, means that if we don't address this, the houseless population explodes everywhere with elders, older Americans dying on the streets. It's not a pretty picture. So how does the City Council of Riverside turn down $20 million? They were supposed to transform the Quality Inn Motel into 114 studio apartments. But they voted against it. They say it doesn't get to the core issues, the underlying issues, which is just an excuse for saying we don't want 114 low-income seniors to have a permanent residence in our city. 94 of those 114 units were meant to be for people with mental disabilities, substance abuse issues. They're saying, well, because there was no treatment included in that plan, we don't want the housing. Take the $20 million and find the money for the mental health services. These folks need to be put on blast. You just sentenced 114 human beings to not having housing because it wasn't perfect, because you didn't want to do the work to get those wraparound services. We have to put the spotlight on folks when they make terrible decisions like this, because this is the only way that we can get past the NIMBYs, the not in my backyard folks, and the folks that have every excuse under the sun not to let unhoused, low-income seniors and folks with disabilities find a place to live in their communities. Being joined by Akili next, we're talking national politics, Jesse Jackson and Fannie Lou Hamer. Black history, all that straight ahead.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Florida's legislative session is set to end March 13th, but lawmakers remain divided on major issues like property taxes and the state budget.
Nobody cares about Tallahassee drama when they can't afford groceries or rent or their power bill or to go to a doctor.
House Democratic leader Fentress Driscoll, who is black, says only 8 of more than 1,000 proposed bills have passed both chambers. Some residents who lost homes in the Palisades fire are upset after receiving $31 brush clearance bills from the city of Los Angeles, even though their properties remain vacant. The notices are arriving more than a year after the fire.